Hey guys, Z here. Gonna talk about some MFR stuff and what MFR needs or what it needs to do to save itself. Um, as you guys know, my channel basically, at least my Twitch channel, basically was born from playing and developing content for Marvel Future Revolution. And the problem now is there's nobody that wants to watch content on that, or very little at least. Especially from somebody that's a little bit more less popular than the content creators that they've chosen, which I won't get into. So, moving on from that, what does MFR need to do to save itself? First off, I can't believe they decided to do something as terrible of a system as the core booster. They shot themselves in the foot for a system they had talked about working on 6 months ago or more. Actually, more, probably almost 9 to 10 months more long ago. They had talked about doing or working on fixing because people didn't like it. 10% of a chance to get a 6-star core from a 5-star, and if you fail, they're gone. You can't use those again. And that sucks because as you craft badges, like with every new invasion we have now, we have new badges. We have new ways we can make our characters stronger or build different or what have you. If you're going to make our cores disappear, they need to have a better chance. If you're going to make us, if we can fodder, in theory, if we can fodder our cores away to make one good core, it should be a much higher percentage chance. Because you're wasting massive amounts of resources to basically risk never getting that reward. A 10% chance it in theory takes 10 tries to guarantee one. To guarantee it. Not just like 90%, 80%. In probability, 10 tries to do that. That's 35-star cores. And then you add on top of that, on average mathematics, that's 35-star cores, times that by 3, that's 90 4-star cores. Then you go down to the 270 3-star cores. And if you really want to get any further, most people don't keep their 1 and 2 stars, but you get multiplicatively, even more. You're asking people to waste all of that on top of the convergium you require them to do, on top of the gold it requires to do all of that you already starve us on. You're asking us to do that and not even guarantee it with a 10%. It's not even then is it guaranteed. That's just the probability of that. And we also have to have cores that we're willing to give away. If we have crit rate, crit damage, defense pierce, attack, any of your reds, your greens, some characters need their blues. Very little people need yellows, but they can be useful if they're an HP. HP recovery is garbage. Why is that still a stat in the game? Nobody wants it. What you should have done is created a material used to take one core and upgrade it, whether it's a risk, whether it's a reward, whether it's guaranteed, whether it's not, whatever. It doesn't matter. It needs to be one core risk at most. If you risk a core, you get one back. The other thing is randomness of it. You, as a development team, have decided to go full mobile with a game that shouldn't be. The problem is the monetization is there, and most people, 90% of us are fine with it. It exists, it's there. The problem is how much of it. Everything in Marvel Future Revolution requires payment to get anywhere, nearly. Or months upon months upon months of farming. And that would be fine if it wasn't for the fact that you guys are pushing squad-based content. You're asking the impossible of people. You're asking the impossible of anybody that's not a spender. If you're a spender, you can do it. I've seen it. Please believe me, I'm in an alliance with plenty of people that can do it. Or indecisive people can't do it either because you don't know what kind of build you want to do. You don't know which ones are going to work. You want to try some new stuff out, some bad stuff out. It happens. You're asking people to delve too much time into something you don't give enough back on. If you want it to be a squad-based system, there needs to be a faster way to gear up characters. Because the only people that I am aware of that can complete Wave 20 of the Alliance Raid at this stage is Penthouse, who are all whales. All of them. So another thing that's a problem that you've seen results of success from is character releases. You got massive bumps in player resource, like players coming back, new players joining the game, old like players that are already playing, putting way more time in when you release Scarlet Witch. Such a major major character that people loved from the MCU, strong character. You know, she's got really good power, her good aesthetic. She looks good. She was well designed. Possibly overtuned, but we'll have to see once people can get to the solid ground of where her character will land. Kind of have an idea of her setup. It's whether or not she works effectively for what she's meant to do. The problem you have is you announced the game. So the game went global at the end of August, beginning of September. We got Magic in December, and then we got Scarlet in May. That was 3 months and then 5 months. Nearly 8 months, we got 2 new characters to bring people into play. And that is almost the only thing that will appeal people that do not want to grind every single day to come back and play. If you want people to come back and play, you want people to come back and want to be incentivized to spend a little bit of money, which is what you guys are looking for, apparently. That's your core thing. That's all we see is anything that requires you to spend money. Everything. Money rewards everything. Every mode in that game. If you want people to come back, you need a faster release schedule. You can't have 6 months almost on average of a release timeline. It's impossible to have anybody want to enjoy the game. Follow up on that. Companions. You're pissing everybody off with companions, that I can say. You're not allowing anybody to enjoy building up one companion, getting them right, getting a setup, getting things going, because you're like, here's a problem, here's a solution, here's the solution, here's the solution, here's the solution, until people were forced to build Hulk because it was like the only PvP companion to use because of how strong he was. You required people to build it up, sure. Then you made a solution, one of two potential solutions. You gave us America Chavez, which everybody loved that she came out to fix that character. And then you gave us Kate Bishop, another option. Because then it allows you to get a little bit more focus on the main character, whatever, right? The problem is there's too many companions to constantly guarantee that. To guarantee you get the character you want from the roles, to build up the character that you need, the companion you need. Everything you guys, the way you guys have done all of this has become very hard to do anything with one character specifically, one anything. As you release more special cards, as you release more cards in general, you're less likely to get the one you want or the ones you need. More characters means more transmutes. It means costs more money, more gold, which means you're not guaranteed to get it, which means you're just broke. More invasion badges means you're broke. You need faster or more reliable gold income that's not 24 hours a day, 365 days a year of farming zones for the badges to break them down. Our resources are finite, but yet you act as if they are infinite. If they were infinite, this part of the conversation would never be a thing. It would also mean a lot of people would be done with the game faster or built with their characters faster, which means they don't care anymore. You got to find the right middle ground where you got to give us the gold. The gold's got to be abundant or something, because everything else is pretty finite without spending. You can only get so many cards a day. You can only get so much specializations a day because you can only run the raids at most 3 times a day. At most. Blitzes, you can only run them 10 times a day. At most. Most wanteds, you can get your primary 3. Then you got a total of 7 normals, which if you do your primary 3, that leaves 4. And you got 2 primes. That's your only resources for any of the normal stuff. The most wanted rewards is the only way you get resources for costumes aside from crafting, which burns through your gold, which burns through your convergium, which you need for everything else. You guys want to design a game. You guys have the bones for a good game. Marvel Future Revolution is a fantastic idea put on paper. The way that it has been delivered to us is garbage. It was great at first. It was new hotness, new fun, new this, new that. What has come down to, you guys have conditioned players to be happy for mediocre updates, like sub-mediocre updates. You give us this stuff, you say, here's this, here's that, here's this, here's that, and it's all like, well, it's lackluster, it's not great, whatever. And then when we get something good, we're like, all right, okay. The core booster is terrible, but when we first saw the idea of it, we're like, all right, cool. We're finally getting our core system that we've needed for forever. There are people I know that have thousands upon thousands of 3-star, whatever, however many star cores that they were waiting on this update to come up, or this rework to a system to release that was so bad they refused to even open their boxes of cores because they refused to have that much crap in their system, in their storage spaces, because they didn't want to waste it, because it would have been a waste of convergium, a waste of gold for them to use that stuff up. You need more active content. You need more fun content. You need something that draws people in, allows them to play more. People want, this may be a mobile game, but people want to play Marvel products. People want that game. If there's anything you could have taken from Diablo Immortal, it would have been the fact that there is a grind system that allows people to feel rewarded for their time. You could have done that with the costume-based systems. Like, the crafting is sure, but it takes, if I farm all the time. I'm never going to have enough gold or resources or sim particles or whatever. Resources in general. I'm not going to have enough resources to keep crafting, or I have it takes so long to craft them. Why does it have a time? Just allow me to buy the craft and it's done. You speed up the process. You don't nobody I don't ever build or craft costumes because it's a waste of my resources. And I'm talking about as a dolphin, as a a free to play player now because I don't have the income to spend. But when I did, I spent decently. I didn't spend heavily. I wasn't a whale, wasn't a kraken. I wasn't anything like that. But I was a moderately decent spender. I spent probably a couple $100 a month, if I'm honest. I mean, that was where I was. And now I don't have the income for it, and I wouldn't, because there's nothing. I shouldn't have to pay just to be able to keep up with the average player if I don't want to. The average player, I should be able to put more time into the game and override somebody else's uh spending to reward myself on that end. More game modes, more exciting game modes, something. You need something to reward players that want to play your game, or give somebody something fun to do, something fun. All of your stuff is you can auto everything. You can put it on auto and go. Yeah, you may die, you may have to do it again, but in theory, you could get into a group that you could put it on auto and never have to touch your phone on it to except to start it back up or anything of that nature. More active content. And what I mean by that is more content that requires you to play your character, play the game more fluidly, be a part of it. That's fun. Spec Ops was one of the most fun modes I had for a long time, and then it got ruined by the lack of value in the rewards. I had a team of 4 that we loved playing the game. We became very close playing that game mode because it was fun, because it was competitive. There was ways to theory craft. There was ways to find the best team, the best setup, the best way to do everything on that. And it got ruined by our lack of value in our rewards. It still doesn't feel good. The core system's bad, so why would the rewards for Spec Ops getting that core system stuff make it any better when it's already bad? Take something bad, take something not fun and not good, and then add something else that's not fun and not good. The two don't add up to be okay. They're just bad independently, and then there's no reason to really want to make them work together. If you don't want to do one, you won't want to do the other. Matchmaking. There needs to be a better matchmaking system for the PvP. Omega Wars are a nightmare for anybody that happens to get placed against the whale. And I always get placed into a match against the whale. Always. I never get good scores. They always do. Is that should I be able to compete against them in scores? If I put the time in, sure, but I don't. I don't even do. I do my dimension duels, and then maybe I do some Omega Wars during the week. I do dimension duels almost every day because they're easy. And in theory, they're easy to get through. If I really just wanted to complete them, I could auto all 5. The problem is that you're making people feel like they need to do everything while not giving them the ability to do everything. You're getting places with these stat rerolls, and that's great. That's the biggest positive that's come out of your content in a minute. Aside from the new badge system, the Scarlet Witch, all of the newer things you've done, you've gone in the right direction. but then you took a massive step back. The issue moving forward is you need to find ways to create content enjoyable to players to bring them back and bring new players in. Nobody wants to play the game if there's not anything worth playing. And I think that pretty much wraps up most of what I wanted to say. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys are watching Netmarble, I doubt you'll watch it, but I hope you do. I really want the game to succeed, but can't if there's nothing to talk about. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you guys later.